Hi, my name is David, and today I'd like to share with you just a couple of principles about the concept of decision making made simple. I don't know about you, but I would say this last past year there was a lot of major decisions that I had to make, our team had to make, both personally and professionally, that got really convoluted by everything happening in the world today. And if you're like me and you got to a point of real frustration and things were confusing and you couldn't see clearly, this actually might be the right topic for you. Because if you're kind of at the precipice right now and you're trying to take a step over that, but you're not sure if it's the right step to take, or maybe it's the wrong time with the wrong person, how do you know before you step off that cliff that you should? There's nothing worse than hindsight telling you a couple weeks or a couple months or a couple years down the road, oh, that was a terrible decision. Why didn't I choose differently? And today, I want to share with you what my international managing partner, James Rice from South Africa, and he and I were on Zoom just yesterday talking about one of our amazing clients that was really in this dilemma. She was making some major, and is making some major personal and professional major decisions, and she's in a huge dilemma right now. We started talking and we kind of just intuitively discovered a system how to take the ambiguity out of the process so that there's no more confusion. So here's a couple ideas. The first one is when you can't find the right choice, it's because somebody isn't asking you the right questions. We have a life, business, and executive coaching company. That's what we do. You know what we really do? We ask questions to uncover the truth that our clients don't know exist. I'm hoping that right now you have somebody or some buddies in your life that's asking you some penetrating questions. Sometimes they're hard and difficult to wrestle with, and maybe you write them out in your journal. But if you have the hard questions, typically you'll find the gold at the bottom. So here's what it is. The clarification is to remove any double-mindedness, which is this, isn't it? I think I should take this road. Yes, I should definitely do that, until you wake up the next day and say, oh, no, I think I should take this road. And what it is ambiguity causes passivity. When you don't know which way you're supposed to step, what happens is you sit down in the middle of the road because you can't move forward. It means you become passive. In other words, the clarification, it means that your confusion halts your progress. When you are confused and you don't know if A is better than B, guess what? You can't move forward, because when you do, your mind, will, and emotions won't go all into it because you're not sure that you should. So I want to share with you what we talked about and what our clients are doing right now, even as we speak. And here's the activity. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to take a piece of paper. I don't want you to type on your laptop or your iPad or your cell phone. And the reason why is it's already been proven. When you write, you engage the creative side of your brain. So get a piece of paper. If you can't find one, go to the store, buy some printing paper. Now at the top, write the topic that you're currently struggling with. Then what I want you to do is draw a line right down the center. Then what I want you to do is I want you to list on the left side every single negative you can come up with. What are the negatives? What are the negatives? Now, if it's not that big of a decision, you should have 3 to 5. But I've actually done a couple problems that were so complicated, I got 20 to 25 different reasons that were negative. And then I want you to go to the right side, and obviously you know what I'm going to say, put the positives down. Now here's what I want you to do. This is the key to helping you make the right decision. I want you to get into a mental state only. I want you to remove all of your emotions and just get in your brain. And I want you to think, and let's just say for sake of discussion, you have 5 statements on each side, just to make it easy. I want you to think and ask yourself the question, what do I think is the most important of these 5 negatives? What's the number 1 that I feel is most important? And you're going to put a 1 on the left-hand side of that negative point. Then you're going to say, out of those 5, which one's least? I mean, it's a valid point, but it doesn't hold a lot of weight. And you're going to put a 5 next to that one on the left-hand side. Then you're going to ask, obviously, what's the second highest and the third lowest, until eventually you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take a deep breath. Now, I want you to go from your head to your heart, your emotions, which are connected to these statements. And I want you to ask yourself a different question. Which one of these 5 do I feel weighs on me the most negatively? And I want you to take your pen, and on the right-hand side, I want you to put down a percentage, whichever one you feel is the heaviest, that you feel has the most weight, that you feel is the most negative. This is the one that is the strongest. And out of 100%, write that percentage down. Then I want you to ask yourself the question, the one that doesn't make that much emotional difference to you, maybe it's 5 or 10 or 20%, whatever, write that percentage down. And do the same for the other 3. Stay in your heart, go to the right side with the positive, do all the same things that you did before. Now, what should happen is on those 5, let's just stay to the negative side. You should have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and percentages. There's a chance that those percentages are more or less than 100. That will be one thing. The second part is it will be this. Were your percentages aligning with your numbers? So for instance, let's say you looked at your 5 and it was actually numerically correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the most heaviest one. In your mind it was there, but when you went to your heart, actually that was only 5 or 10%. Guess what that just told you? It told you that you have a misalignment to what you think you should be doing versus what you feel you should be doing. In that moment is called a crisis. When your mind and your heart disagree in the decision-making process, you have ambiguity, which means the 5 don't line up with the correct percentages, and then you wonder why you can't get clarity. It's called a lack of convergence. There's no clarity there, and you can't move forward. Now, what I want to do is I want to challenge you to do something. You see, we love talking to people who are in the middle of transition, because that's what it means. When you're in transition, it means you don't know whether or not you should go left or right. Is it A or is it B? Is it 1 or is it 2? And you don't want to make a major decision that you're concerned about days, weeks, months, years later, looking back and saying that was a huge decision I made and it was incorrectly. It was incorrect and I wish I wouldn't have done it. And if you would like, James and I, just a couple guys who love hearing where you're at in the process. 4 years, 1 heart, no sales. Direct message us on LinkedIn or Facebook. We'd be thrilled to have a Zoom meeting with you, hear where you're at, and bring some clarity to your life.